This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Know-How is brought to you by CacheFly.
Today on Know-How,
The perfect desktop for your dorm room, a robot for lazy students.
I stick cameras where they shouldn't go.
It's Back to School Part 3.
Welcome to Know-How. It's a Twitch show where we build, bend, break, and upgrade. I am Father Robert Ballecer.
And I'm Patrick Delahanty.
And for the next however many minutes it takes, we're going to be putting knowledge into the Library of Congress that lives in your head with all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not so, that one's not so great. But that's okay, because this is great. Now, Patrick, all across the country, actually, in much of the world, you've got students who are going back to school. Now, last week we covered some basic technology, some laptops, some accessories. We're going to start getting into some of the more fun stuff, because back to school is not just about productivity. Back to school has to have a little bit of craziness, a little bit of fun, a little bit of entertainment value to really make it a back to school.
It was school without a little hijinks.
Precisely. and actually, that's exactly why we've got this first product on the desk right now. Last week, people suggested that we were focusing on laptops. They wanted to know if there were any desktops they might want to consider. And I thought about this. I said, well, most of the time, students aren't going to want a desktop. I mean, it's not mobile. The only time I could think of it is maybe if you're in a dorm. If you're moving on to a college campus, it's kind of nice to have the extra screen real estate. Yes. And if you can get a multifunction unit that can take the place of several devices you might bring with you, all the better.
Yeah, this could replace having a TV in your dorm room.
Right.
You need all that. You have a very limited amount of space, so this will make the most of that limited space.
Right. But the thing that I was afraid of is I don't really want something noisy. Especially if you're going to be in a dorm room and you're going to be sharing that room with somebody else, having noisy equipment is kind of, well, it's rude, it's verboten. You just don't want it. I mean, how would you want it if your roommate had an old PC that just sounded like a wind turbine at night? That's not cool.
And if you're up late working on some report because you're a great student, because obviously you are, you watch Twit, and your roommate's trying to sleep because they're lazy, you can't have it be making noise because then they'll just complain. So.
Precisely. So I reached out and I asked 3 different vendors that we've worked with pretty extensively on Know-How if they have some sort of desktop that might fit the bill. I wanted something that wasn't that expensive, something with a nice large screen, at least 24 inches, something that had an input so that I could use it as an actual monitor, not just as an all-in-one or a desktop. And I also wanted something with decent sound so that I didn't have to set up an additional speaker system inside my dorm room in order to get decent movie sound or game sound. So what several of the manufacturers did was they sent me like a list, a rundown of parts I should buy, and there was one manufacturer that said, we think we have something. It hasn't been released yet, but it will be ready by the end of August, and so they sent me this. This is the Acer U27. We don't actually have a link for this yet because it won't be available until the start of September, but this is their all-in-one. This is a liquid-cooled all-in-one.
Liquid-cooled?
I do like that because what it means is you can't hear anything. It's not on the mics. If you're standing next to this, you can't hear anything because they've gotten rid of all the fans. It's completely passively cooled, and it allows me to have what is essentially in the footprint of a monitor, a full-featured Core i7 desktop. This I kind of like. Now let me do some of the specs. So get close up here on this one, Alex, because I love it. This is a 7th Gen Intel i7 7500U. It's a quad-core 2.7 gigahertz for the normal, 3.5 gigahertz for the turbo, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 System Memory. There's 2 slots. It's expandable to 32, although right now it's 8 and 8, so you'd have to remove the existing memory to expand it to 32. Right. Integrated graphics. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Not so hot on that. Intel 620. This is a 27-inch 1920 by 1080 widescreen LED backlit multi-touch screen. So, of course, since this is going to be an all-in-one, this is going to allow me to...
Touch screen.
I like my touch
screen.
My
iMac doesn't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't. A 256 gigabyte SSD along with a 1 terabyte 5400 RPM hard drive. So I got speed and storage. Dual 2-watt speakers with a 6-watt subwoofer and a ton of ports. If I turn this thing around...
There's a subwoofer in this thing?
There's a subwoofer. There you go. So you can see the ports in the back. I've got myself the normal complement, 3 USB 3.0, 1 USB 2.0 underneath, 1 Thunderbolt 3, 1 HDMI out, which I'm using right now, and right over here, that's an HDMI in, which means I could plug in my PlayStation,
yeah.
my Xbox, my Switch, whatever. This becomes just a monitor.
Thunderbolt 3, you mean USB-C, right?
No.
No?
No, this does not have USB-C. That was a little kind of weird for me. I thought they'd have it in there. This has not been released yet, so yeah, it is brand new. It's also got Gigabit Ethernet, which I like, so I don't have to use a dongle to get Ethernet on this, combo audio, and a media card reader. Now, one of the things that I really like about this is because they're using a higher spec CPU, it becomes really, really responsive. In fact, let me bring up one of my favorite applications to test out when I'm playing around. Maps, and not Google Maps, but Microsoft Maps. They've actually done a really good job. Alex, if you've got the input from this, you should be able to show what I'm actually. There we go. So what I can do with this map app, this was really designed for a Surface, so it allows me to move around with a degree of freedom that I can't get on Google Maps, and sort of twist and turn and play with the full range of features availed to me by the multi-touch screen. So I mean, I just love this.
This seems a lot like Leo's Microsoft Surface.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have the good.
It doesn't have the
flat
hinge.
Panel. Yeah, the hinge is amazing.
But this will work with a stylus. It will actually detect pressure if I'm using it with one of those styluses. And as opposed to a $3,000 to $5,000 computer, this is a $1,300 to $1,500 computer. So it is significantly less expensive.
Wow. And it's more powerful.
It's higher spec.
So, yeah.
It's higher spec. Now, one thing though, and this is puzzling on all the all-in-ones, was that Intel 620, the integrated graphics. This suffers because of that. Because anytime you're using integrated graphics rather than a discrete piece, you're just never going to get the performance that you want. In fact, I did decently. On PCMark 8, it was about 3410, which is about right for a desktop. But then on 3D Mark, using the Firestrike demo, I was able to get 975. And the i5 laptop that we had with the discrete graphics part last week was pulling something like 3,000. So yeah, you're going to suffer. This is not a gaming machine. No. But because it has that HDMI in, it can be a gaming monitor, which is what I like. Some people were suggesting that I just get some sort of the USB dongle to pass through video to the screen. But the problem with doing that is I'm going to add latency.
Yeah.
And if I'm playing a game where that matters, no bueno.
Yeah, you're going to get
I'm going to get fragged. Yeah, really easily. But because this is a direct input, it allows me to have lag-free connectivity to my monitor. And well, it's just nice. Now, I've been playing with this for a couple of days. I was a little skeptical at first because all-in-ones have not been the greatest for me. They had some great ones like 3 or 4 years ago, but we've had HP and Dell and Acer send us a couple, and they've been okay, but for the price, I've always said I could do better. I could build better. I can build more. This, especially with the liquid cooling, I don't know, Patrick. I kind of like the design. I kind of like the overall philosophy of it. What do you think?
I think this would fit in really well to my old dorm room. I mean, I had Mac LC2 in there back in my day. But yes, Alex is laughing. But yeah, this is the sort of thing I was looking for, where I could watch TV and, well, now it's online streaming, but do all my work and watch entertainment on the monitor. And the only thing that would make me hesitant about this is that I can't bring it with me. Yeah,
so. And that's a thing. And that's why most people like laptops, because I can just grab and go. But there is something to be said about having a workstation.
Yes.
It just works better. You get more done. More real estate is less strain on your eyes. Just go down the list.
But my question is, how does this compare to the power of a typical laptop you might get for the same price point?
This actually measures up quite well. At between, I mean, the MSRP for this is going to be about 15, which means street price is going to be somewhere between $1,350 up to like $1,450. For that price, you'd be hard pressed to get a Core i7 with these specs, this storage option, even with a smaller monitor. So you do pay a tiny bit of a premium, mostly for the styling and for the completely silent operation. But it's not as if it's going to be a dog. The biggest problem is, of course, the fact that it is using that integrated graphics. That's killing me. In fact, I'm going to go back to Acer and ask them why. I think I know the answer. I think the answer is if they had put a discrete graphics part in there, they couldn't do the completely passive water cooling. That's just too much heat. I mean, it'd be fine under normal operation, but you game on that thing and you're just going to boil off all the liquid cooling. That's not a good strategy. Now, I'm going to be playing with this for the next couple of days. I'm just going to see exactly how much performance I can get out of this. One of the other things I want to play with, though, is the Thunderbolt 3 port. It doesn't specifically say that I can do this, but I want to see if I can hook it up an external video card to it. Just for giggles.
I'd be curious to know how well it does it, because I mean, you're going to play some games. You need to play some games, like if we put Minecraft on
Minecraft will work.
Yeah, but how well does it do that? Or like if we had StarCraft on there, or something like that'll probably work. But you know,
like
first-person shooter,
no,
how well would it? Would you have to? How low would you have to turn those settings?
Yeah, and actually our chat room is picking it up right now. They realize that the silent operation, that's actually it's a limiting factor, but at this point in my life, I will take it. I love silent operation. Even my Acer S7, every once in a while the fan will spin up and it bothers me.
Yeah, even my iMac at home, my fan in there.
And even though it's not loud, the fact that it turns on does disturb the environment. This is one of these things where I can drop it into an area and have a relatively high power computer without the acoustic cost of a high power computer.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's actually a really good design.
Yeah, and the HDMI in, I mean, you don't see that every day. That's a really good selling point.
You may remember a while back we had that HP all-in-one, which was nice. It was also very well designed. I actually would take the design of this. Let's be honest, this is very iMac-ish. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean this. You go to, and I mean that in a good way.
They got their inspiration.
They've taken their design cues. It's super thin. I love this feel, the whole matte feel, the use of aluminum throughout the chassis.
Even the layout of the ports. It's on the opposite side of my iMac.
Right.
But the power button's down there on the opposite side. It's like a mirror of the iMac, and the stand is different. Other than that.
But one thing that they've done that they did not do on the HP is they've used a more traditional aspect ratio. Remember that HP had the 27-inch monitor, but it was super stretched.
Yeah.
And that meant that if I put an HDMI signal into it, it only used the center part. I had huge black bands on the side.
Right.
Acer's realized if we're going to put HDMI in, we should leave it at a aspect ratio where they're going to be able to use the whole screen.
Yeah, that's what you want.
So, common sense. Very well done. Again, we're gonna take a look. Oh, and one last thing. I was honest about this, that I wanted a system that had decent audio, and so it allows me to use the internal speakers rather than having to use externals. And this is actually pretty good. I mean, this would be room filling in a dorm. And if you put this up against a wall, it would amplify the bass effect that I'm getting off of that subwoofer. And I'm about, what, 30% of my audio power right now. It just sounds good, and it gets plenty loud for a system like this. Most all-in-ones, they have really, really tinny sound. This is actually not bad. Now,
no, you can't even order this on the Acer website now, can you?
It's not even on the Acer website. Which is, normally we don't do that, but I was kind of excited.
Typically, will Acer let you do a custom configuration if you want a different hard drive size or different memory options?
They don't do that. So that's more like a Dell HP thing. Acer will have multiple configurations you can choose, but you can't like order from the factory with a different configuration. But like I said, the memory is upgradable, as is the hard drive. I've got an entire bay in addition to the SSD that I can play with. You'd have to snap off the back panel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things because it is so nice. They don't have any exposed screw ports, which means it's not going to be as easy to access. But in its de facto configuration, it's perfectly usable. And I mean, that's actually high praise for me for an all-in-one.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
That's a nice machine.
All right. Well, we'll see more of it. Now, when we come back, we're going to stick cameras where they shouldn't be.
What?
Yeah. But before we go there, I realize that for the first-time college student, one of the things that you might have to get used to is the fact that mom is no longer around, or the person who takes care of you is no longer with you. Well, what if I told you that you could get a robot that could handle one of the most mundane tasks that you have to deal with.
It's going to do my laundry?
It's going to do, well, kind of. This is the Foldimate.
Robotics are one of the more interesting aspects of the Consumer Electronics Show, but what good are robots if they can't help you with the really mundane tasks? Like, for example, dealing with your laundry. That's why we're here at Foldimate, and I'm going to speak with the founder, the CEO of the company, to ask him what exactly this robot can do for you. Sir, this is, well, it's a robot that folds your laundry. Tell me, what was the genesis of this idea?
You know, laundry, when you have kids, it never ends, right? Every day, and you can't get enough of it. And it's not enough we need to do the washing and the drying. Eventually someone needs to fold it. And then you get to the debate. Who does it? When do you do it? You don't have time. You have mountains and mountains of laundry, and you don't know what to do with it. So I said, there must be another way to do it. And that's why we started working on Foldimate. And now we're so excited that we're almost on the verge of making it happen.
We got this PR blast a few days back, and I was very interested in the simplicity of the device. I mean, it is an intricate design. It's fantastic in how well it works. But when you look at it, you go, yeah, that's how someone should have built the robot. Could you show me a couple of the steps? What would I do to my laundry in order for the Foldimate to be able to fold it?
Sure, so it's very simple, and you know, that's what we wanted to do. You just take a dried item out of your laundry basket or directly from your washer or your dryer, I'm sorry, and you just clip it on like that, here, and you're done. Now, after you clip it on, it goes inside, and you clip another one, and within minutes, you get all of your laundry folded for you. Now, if that's not enough, that's the first time in the laundry industry that we're capable of treating your laundry on an individual item base. What do I mean by that? If we fold it for you, why don't we just do some de-wrinkling for you all the way? So not ironing. Ironing is 100%, de-wrinkling is 50%. But still, we can take a pair of jeans and make them more wearable after the laundry, right? Now, if that's not enough, we said, okay, why don't we just give you some treatment options? So you take a specialized capsule in the scent that you love or in a softener, and you apply it on the fabric while it's being folded. And that's the optional bonus features that we're including in Foldimate.
That's wonderful. Now, I know there's people in our audience who are thinking, okay, this is something I'd like, something that I could put in the corner of my room and keep my laundry looking good. But the big question always has to be pricing and availability. How much is a Foldimate going to set them back, and when might they be able to get one?
You're right. And when I set out to do it, I wanted to do it for my family, but also for my friends and the people around me. So I wanted it to be affordable, like a high-end washer or dryer. And that's why we set our target price point, which is very challenging, between $700 to $850. Today you can actually reserve units because we're still in prototyping stage. So customers go online, reserve a unit, pay a small deposit, and then they can receive 10% discount and shipping priority. And it will be available towards the end of this year. We will launch the pre-orders, and first units will ship a year later to those who reserved and pre-ordered their units. So late 2018, hopefully Christmas, we're making our best shot at it. You will have a Foldimate at your home so you can focus on the holiday.
Gal, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you for sharing the Foldimate. If they wanted to find out more about this machine, more about your company, more about why you created it, where should they go?
Foldimate.com, all of the information there, the videos are there, and you can follow us on social media. We're very, very transparent and communicative of our progress and what's going on. That's why we came to CES at an early stage like that.
It's Foldimate. Doesn't do windows, but it does do laundry.
Okay, I know what people are saying. Oh, I could do my laundry faster. Yeah, but it's a freaking robot, man. Come on. Come on.
My thought was they've made it fold the clothes and they do the little steam cleaning stuff.
Right.
They can't make it actually wash the clothes too?
Well, I think that's actually how they're positioning this. They want one of the large appliance makers to buy them and add this technology. And actually at IFA last year, LG had something that was approximating this, but their technology, FoldiMate's technology, was way better than what LG had. So I could see this. And the company does have legs. Just less than a month ago, they closed a $3 million seed round. So they now have the capital to actually create these things.
Well, I think every kid needs this in their dorm room.
Right?
It's perfect for back to school.
I mean, look. If you can create a robot that will do something that I don't like to do, and actually make it kind of fun, and have it do it off in the corner when I'm not paying attention, that's a good thing. Yes, that's the whole idea of automation. That's the whole idea of robotics.
I am terrible at folding clothes. I learned in college. So.
Well, for those people who are going to poo-poo it, I guess you do want to do everything yourself, which is why we're coming back to a different part of back to school. Now, this isn't a desktop. This isn't a laptop. These aren't accessories that you're going to need on a daily basis. We just thought that as you're looking at your back to school loadout, you may want to include a couple of tools that can do interesting things.
Come on, Padre. This is for the college pranks.
This is it's college.
Stop trying to hide it.
Okay. Yeah. This is college prank time. One of the things that I love is the fact that we've all got our mobile devices now. These are incredibly powerful computers. They allow us to reach out into the world, pull forward any information we need, any information we want. But there is one feature that a lot of Android devices have that most of us never use.
I don't have Android, so tell me what it is.
It's called UVC, USB, video something or other. UVC? Oh, it's right, USB video class. The whole idea is it's a way to connect external video input devices into your phone. Now, you need a couple of things to make this work. It has to support OTG, that's on the go. That's the ability to connect a USB host device to your client. And vice versa. And you also need UVC. Not all phones do it. You're going to have to check the spec on your phone. Like, for example, my OnePlus One doesn't do it. My original Samsung Galaxy S2 doesn't, but my Galaxy S3 does, the Galaxy S4, the Galaxy 5 does it, and most LG phones do it as well. So just check your spec to make sure it says UVC. If it says UVC and OTG, you're good to go. If you do support that, you actually have the ability to use your screen on your phone for things that aren't actually coming from your phone. That is incredibly powerful. Just like with the monitor on the U27, the ability to hook up that HDMI in and use the screen for another device means that's one less piece of equipment that I have to travel with me. If you have an Android phone, you have an incredibly powerful diagnostic tool that you may not be using. And by diagnostic, Patrick was right, I mean pranking. You have an incredibly powerful pranking tool that you're not using. All right, so let's take a look at a few things. First of all, I've got this LG phone. I got this off of a Slick Deals, if you could go over the overhead. Okay, we've got our screen here. So what this allows me to do is this allows me to hook up a device to the OTG port, the USB port here on the bottom, and then input video directly into my device. I'm going to use this. This is an eSheen. This is a receiver. Alex, if you go ahead and go to the link there, it's about a $20 or so device. It allows me to interface this receiver with a properly equipped Android phone or tablet. Now, this is going to run at 5.8 gigahertz, so it's not going to crowd out the already crowded 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. But let me say again, because I don't want people going out to buy this, this will not work on all devices. Be sure to check the notes and the specs of your phone to make sure it's actually going to work. This does not work at all on any iPhone, so you have to be in the Android ecosystem.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, but this is how it is. I just take this and I plug it into the bottom, like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and start up the application. And this is not a proprietary application. I can actually use any application that supports UVC. And what I should get is I should get static. Okay, so this is now receiving. And I've got another device here. Let me go ahead and turn this on so you can see what it looks like. There we go. I've got another device. This is actually an FPV camera. There. Now, this is not that bad. This is also 5.8 gigahertz, 40 channels. This will only output at 25 milliwatt. This can transmit audio and video, and this will run on as low as a 1S battery, a single LiPo. How about that? Alex, if you go ahead and go to the link, it's the Ishin, the third link, the $22 one. This is kind of cool because this is, well, I mean, let's say it honestly. This is a spy camera. This is designed for FPV, but this is something that I can incorporate into pretty much anything.
So total, this is $40 for both the
$40.
camera and the
So
receiver.
$40, I have a working FPV system that goes to my phone. And by FPV system, I also mean spy system.
And the quality is $40 quality, too.
It is, yeah. This is not great quality. We're talking about 640 by 480. This is, yeah. And you're going to get dropouts because, again, I'm only transmitting at 25 milliwatts. This is about as low as I can go and still get any sort of reception. Let's see how far away I can get. See, that's not bad. That's not bad. But as I get further and further away, I'm going to get a bit more. Oh, actually, that's pretty good. You know what? We might actually finally be able to have the TD cam.
Yeah, right.
We've been wanting to do that for a while. So this is a cool little unit, and again, not that expensive. Something that I can throw into my toolkit, and it is incredibly useful. It's one of these things where I know what it's supposed to be used for, but it's just a camera that goes to my phone, and I can use that for pretty much anything I want.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would totally get one of these if it worked with my iPhone.
Now, if you want to do
I
something...
love the antenna, though. It's
Well, yeah, it's a clover.
weird shaped. Yeah.
One of the things that you can do, however, is if you need more power, or let's say you want to broadcast a much nicer camera than that, you can just buy the transmitter itself. And Alex, if you go to that second link, this is the Ishin TX526 transmitter. Now, this is infinitely more powerful than the transmitter on that combo unit. This, again, outputs 5.8 gigahertz. It's 40 channel, but I can output 3 different power levels. So 25 milliwatts, which is what that is, 200 milliwatts, or 600 milliwatts. So I can really push up the power when necessary. And this is, if you've watched any of our quadcopter episodes, this should be familiar. This works on anything from 7 all the way up to 24 volts. I can hook up any kind of antenna to it, and I can pretty much hook up any kind of video source. So, I mean, you get to choose your poison. What do you want? Do you want high power with flexibility, or do you want something that's truly like spy class?
Oh, I love this spy thing.
It's kind of cool,
the
right?
The quality's terrible, but I mean, $40.
The quality is terrible, but I mean, this is again, it's something for pranking or for practical security. I would never spy on somebody, but I would put a camera to watch my stuff. Actually, I have one of those in my lab right now, watching every single one of my 3D printers. And so it just scrolls through, and so I can see when the 3D printer is done with its job.
You hide this thing outside your dorm room, up in the ceiling, so you can see who's at the door, and it looks down, and you're like, oh, it's that guy.
That you could probably do, but I mean, if it was looking into a public area, you'd probably get expelled. So
Well, I
don't do
mean,
that.
right outside the door.
Yeah, this is back to school, not kicked out of school. That's different. We could do that episode next.
Oh, the stories I could tell.
But one more thing. So that's super, super useful. Here's something else that I found surprisingly useful, and it doesn't have to be disgusting. This is actually an Android OTG UVC, so it's using the same standard as this broadcast device, as an endoscope. An endoscope is
You said it didn't have to be disgusting.
It's not disgusting. It's just a camera on a cable. The whole idea of this is I bought this so I could play the game at DEF CON, the box. So the idea is they have a box with several layers of security, and you have to break into it without setting off any of the security. Well, one of the things that people will do is they'll make a small hole in the side of the box, and you can push in this little endoscope and then kind of wiggle it around to see what's inside the box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box. But it's also incredibly useful anytime I need to get eyes on something that might be in a really bad angle. I mean, and this is the shorter cable. Go to the link for this one. This one was under 20 bucks. When I bought it, I think it was 15. So the price actually fluctuates quite a bit. And it comes with a couple of accessories. You've got a hook so that you can like reach in, use the camera to grab something and then pull it out. It's also got a side mirror, so you can actually look down towards the side rather than forward. And there's a light illumination. There's an LED ring around that camera so that when you plug it in, you can actually light up dark spaces.
So this is not a boroscope, it's an endoscope?
It's an endoscope.
That means it goes inside people.
No, not necessarily. We're going to do that now.
No.
Okay, so same.
Well,
it's the same.
I'm also looking at the size of this, And this may seem small to you. It seems really thick to me. And maybe that's because I have a colonoscopy scheduled in a month and a half.
Oh, you do realize that the one they're going to use for you is way bigger, right?
God.
It's way bigger.
Oh, this is the worst episode ever.
Now, I also have a control here, and it allows me to go dim or bright. I will say that that heats up really quickly, so if you don't need the light, you want to turn it down as low as possible. It's not well focused because, of course, it's designed to be really close to things. But
so we can stick it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. No more than that, please.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But like, for example, Patrick,
Oh, it's Padre.
Stop. No, look, it's going to help you see any sort of microelectronics. You need to check out circuit board traces. This is actually not a bad tool to do it. And that the little LED light ring does also help. But then, naturally, you probably can.
No. I'm not looking at my monitors here.
Hey, Patrick,
No.
have you ever wanted to see what's inside your ear?
Yes, but we don't need to show that.
Oh, look, my ear's relatively clean. All right, see? This is technology.
I'm
this
not
is
touching that now.
This is wearable technology. Like you know what? I actually might need an ear cleaning. That's not so great. I might want to talk to Jason about that.
That's oh my God.
I did bring alcohol swabs though, so or there's also
No. No.
Show off your fillings.
oh yeah, it's filling
Yeah.
right.
And I've got the dentist later
Okay,
today,
if you're gonna have an endoscope, that's gonna happen. I'm sorry. That's just how it works. And by the way, you're gonna be sedated, so you're gonna be fine.
I
Don't worry
know.
about it.
This is the most uncomfortable episode ever on this network. Of all shows.
That's going on the highlight
All
reel.
shows.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And this has been the final episode of Know How. Thank you very
Thanks
much,
for watching
everyone.
Know How. We're canceled.
Okay, look,
Yikes.
I'm messing around, but you can see where this might be a nice addition to your toolbox, right? It's not that expensive. It's actually really small. And if you're doing one of these projects that needs you to see something that's really hard to see, that's the solution.
I suppose.
You're just really turned off by the whole inside you
Yeah,
thing.
so
Yes!
stick it in all that stuff in the shelf there, not in you.
No, it's that's not it's not nearly as exciting.
Hey, I like this camera still. This one.
That's a nice.
This
camera.
is a nice one.
Good size.
And
You
look,
can stick it in things.
it's wireless too, so I can just bring it over. And
Ladies and gentlemen, science knows no shame. We
don't
must
have
push
any more.
forward, even if it means Patrick gets uncomfortable because I'm sticking cameras in my ear.
I don't think it's just me that's uncomfortable here.
Folks, I know that this has been a lot of information. We're going to make sure you get all the links to all the products, including where you're going to be able to get the U27, where you can find a Foldimate, and yes, where you can pick up any of these cameras. What?
I'm sorry, I was distracted. I know this was $40 combination. How much was the
20 bucks,
home colonoscopy?
$20.
$20?
Oh, $20.
I'll still spend the 40. 'Cause I'm not nowhere near that thing.
Well, if you're not yet disgusted, pick that up along with the $40 set at our show notes at twit.tv/KH. That's Know How. Not only will you be able to find all of our back episodes, but you'll also find the show notes. And most importantly, if you want to support the show, please subscribe. You can subscribe to the version of your choice on the device of your choice. You could have the audio version, the video version, or the high definition video version automatically delivered to your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your desktop, wherever it might be. It's a great way to make sure that you stay in touch with Know How and a great way to support the show. Speaking of supporting the show, we depend on you, our audience, our Ketas, our know-it-alls, to be part of our Google Plus group. Just go to Google Plus, look for Know How, and ask to join. There's a very short approval process to keep out the spam accounts, but once you're in, we have over 11,000 Ketas. Those are all of our know-it-alls who are along all ranges of the maker DIY spectrum. If you have questions about a project, if you
I've got
need a
questions about
project,
this.
if you want to tell Patrick that it's okay to look inside your body because the body is a beautiful thing,
Not on a live stream.
then again, go to Google Plus and look for Know How. Also, don't forget that you can find us on the Twitters. Patrick, where are you?
I'm at P. Delahanty.
And you can find me at twitter.com/PadreSJ. And the third member of our crew who is surprisingly squeamish, so now I know what to get him for his birthday. You're going to find Bill at twitter.com/ANELF3.
Excuse me, Padre. It's pronounced Alex.
Ah,
No.
So
Alex had a beard.
So yeah, that's right. I don't know what this is, but that's definitely not an Alex.
Shame we can't see anything.
Well, we could if we were using the other
I
camera.
don't even know if it's upside down or not. I can't tell.
Grr,
There's no up on this.
There's no up.
Oh, you put this.
That was in my ear.
Oh.
You touched it.
Where are the hand wipes? You know?
Until next time, I'm Father Robert Balaser.
I'm Patrick Delahanty.
And now that you know how,
Stop it.
No.
No.
today on Know How.
The perfect desktop for your dorm room. How to make a robot on a lazy Susan.
Today on Know How.
The perfect desktop for your dorm room. Robots for lazy students.
I stick cameras where they shouldn't be.
What?
And a 3, 2. Today on Know How. Today on Know How.
The perfect desktop for your dorm room. Robots.
A robot for lazy
A
students.
robot for lazy students.